Well, fellow puckheads, we've made it. We are now down to the final week of the regular season. 7 days remain, starting with this 5-game Friday, April the 11th. And it's a small sample. It usually is on Fridays, but there's a lot. There's a lot to be decided. Really, the only game that really has like no relevance is the one that's on NHL Network tonight. That's Penguins and Devils, because the Devils are locked in that three spot in the Metro, and the Penguins for the third straight year are out. They're not going to the playoffs. So New Jersey's basically practicing for Carolina in the next week. That's their first round opponent. As for the other four, there's quite a bit on the line. Positioning and some playoff spots could be clinched. There are four total overall spots remaining in the Stanley Cup playoffs. Three of them can be wrapped up tonight, and they are as follows. The Oilers. Yeah. So, the Oilers made things a bit easier for themselves on Wednesday when they beat the Blues in the last half a minute. So as a result of this, the Oilers can get into the Stanley Cup playoffs tonight, and all they'll have to do is get just 1 point. Just go to overtime. They're playing the Sharks. They're playing the Sharks at home. All they need is 1 point, or for their provincial rivals, the Calgary Flames, the only team left in the West behind the playoff line that still has a pulse, sort. They'll need the Flames to lose. Doesn't matter how. And if that happens, the Oilers will get in. They will also be locked in at least third place in the Pacific, and they'll try to see if they can surpass the Kings at least and get that home ice in an eventual series against them. The Minnesota Wild. Again, ugh. So for the first time this season, the Wild actually have a chance to clinch something. It has been kind of up and down for the Wild. I mean, they've been without Kuroka Kaprizov for quite a bit, and that kind of resulted in them slipping down the central standings a bit. They slipped out of the top three, and they've stayed out, but they haven't fallen way behind. They are still above ground, and they can stay above ground. The Wild, they are currently in the I think it's the wild card one position. Yeah, they're in the wild card one position in the Western Conference. They're ahead of the Blues by a game in hand, and they are playing against the Flames, the very team that's connected to all the scenarios. They are playing against the Flames, the one team behind that playoff line in the West that still has a shot. All the Wild have to do is beat them, and they're in. And it doesn't matter how, because I think the Wild's magic number is 3 points. The Wild are 3 points away from clinching, which means their win does not have to be in regulation. They can beat them in regulation, overtime, shootout, doesn't matter. And I think they've kind of clinched the other tiebreakers, regulation wins and the road, regulation, overtime wins. So yeah, all Minnesota has to do is beat the Flames, and they're in. Just like that. Simple. Finally, the piece de resistance, les habitants, les Canadiens du Montreal, the Montreal Canadiens can get in. This is their first chance to clinch, and it's a good one. It's a good one. They have to beat the Senators. They have to do it in regulation to get in. The reason why it's in regulation, if they just win, they'll eliminate three teams for the postseason chase. Both New York teams and Detroit will be out. Actually, those three teams will be out even if they get to overtime. But it has to be. But the win has to be regulation, because if they win in regulation, they will clinch a tie in the regulation wins tiebreaker over Columbus. And they've already locked in the row tiebreaker, regulation overtime wins tiebreaker over Columbus. So a regulation win will cement that. I mean, the best Columbus could do if they win out is match Montreal's regulation win total. So yeah, if the Canadiens beat the Senators in regulation, then Les Habitants are in for the first time since their crazy run back in 2021. So yeah, and that will be a massive. Well, I can't, there's a word I want to say that begins with P, but I can't really say it because I kind of want this video to be uploaded. Um, but it would be a totally massive elimination if that happens because you got four teams behind the playoff line that are always alive mathematically. And as I said, 1 point for Montreal would eliminate three of them. If they win in overtime, it wouldn't eliminate Columbus just yet. But if they win in regulation, all four of those teams, Columbus, the New York teams, and Detroit, their seasons would be over. And for the Rangers, that'd be hella disappointing. So, also, the Canadiens clinch would fill all the spots in the East. All 8 playoff teams would be set. It would just be a matter of positioning, you know. And it would be good for the Canadiens because they could actually, if they beat the Sens in regulation, they could have a shot at possibly passing the Senators and moving up to that wild card one spot where they would play. Oh boy, they would probably play Toronto. Whew, that'll be good. That'll be a good series. And I know, but so that would be three of the four remaining spots clinched tonight. So yeah, this is the schedule, and again, three of the four spots can be clinched. As for the Blues, who are still looking to get in, the Blues can clinch as soon as tomorrow, and the Wild Flames game is connected to it. If the Wild win in overtime, then the Blues can clinch tomorrow with a win. If the Wild beat the Flames in regulation, then all the Blues will have to do is go to overtime, and all 16 spots will be filled with about 5 days left after Saturday. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. All the spots can be filled by Saturday, but there will still be positioning on the line, and that's gonna be interesting. So, again, Edmonton, Minnesota, Montreal, they can all get in. If so much as one of them gets in, I'll be back here with congratulations. And if it's a certain team that I think is gonna get in, I'll have a few interesting things to say about that. So stay tuned for all of that, and here's hoping that puzzle becomes just a bit more clear after tonight's action.